So Greg and I were talking earlier today, and he said something that I thought was just genius. And since this happens so infrequently, no, I'm only kidding. He's really sharp and on top of everything. We are constantly exchanging information about, hey, did you see this, or are you aware of that, or that sort of thing. But I thought, whoa, we ought to do a video about that. And I'm not going to steal his thunder. I'm just going to let him say what it was because it was his idea, and I like to give credit where credit's due. So thank you, Greg, and tell me what you or tell them what you were telling me earlier, and it's brilliant.
Well, I started replaying in my mind the White House meeting between President Zelensky, President Trump, and Vice President Vance. And then I replayed in my mind President Zelensky yesterday saying, "We've been planning this for 18 months."
Mhm.
And then it occurred to me that under the immense pressure of that White House, and I'm going to lay this out for you, um, under the here is the immense pressure that I'm talking about. Here is an image back, Zelensky sitting there in the middle. We all remember this, and we're going to listen to this video again because it's completely different now. But he is surrounded, Hegseth in front of him. There's his advisor Yermak to his right, then Zelensky, then Trump. Then you have JD Vance on the sofa, Rubio, Besant standing behind them. You have Waltz, who no longer is there, Kellogg, media, cameras, the pressure of that location. And the whole time, he knew that Operation Spiderweb was loaded.
Right. And that's the thing, like, you don't have the cards? You don't know which cards I actually have. That's so like, it in hindsight now, looking back at
2020.
it, you're like, "Wow.
Okay, and
Okay."
this is where we need to give him some real credit because everybody initially after that is anti-Ukraine went after him, that he
Mhm,
disrespected the United States. He disrespected the president. Vance was unleashed on him and he
mhm.
stood as strong as he could, knowing that this was in his pocket,
Yep.
knowing.
Well, that's a nice prop. Good work. Look
Oh,
at that.
brother, listen, we got them
Yeah.
all. We got them
Object
all.
object lessons.
Hey, knowing that as they were talking, you're bringing World War III, and we're going to play the video again, but
Mhm.
you're destroying everything. Don't you know we're saving you? And the whole time, he knows that the SBU is conducting a special operation, and their office is sitting under the nose of the
Mhm.
FSB, the modern day KGB.
Yeah, you
This,
won't be I pulled up that video as well, and you will not be able to watch it the same way now
correct.
knowing what happened on June 1st. Okay.
I even subtitled it so we can make it clear. We can stop it. We can do everything we need to do. And it's unbelievably powerful now. But I also say for all of those that were so negative on Zelensky, this really revealed his character, which is
Yeah.
rock solid, and his ability to be in the heat of the moment. And now you understand the heat of the moment. And let's get to it. And if you want to pause the video, Prof, and want to make a statement, here we go, guys. 4 minutes of it's a completely different world. Here we go.
But he
Yep.
didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not
President,
strong-
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because
Yeah, let's stop there. Like, you're in such bad position, you have to have us. You better be lucky that we're here. And, like, he had things
You're
in the
going
can ready
around
to.
forcing people to the front lines.
Yeah. So what's interesting about that is this whole idea, like, no, no, we have to help you. You're coming to us, kiss the ring, kind of something. And yeah, I mean, they do need help. There's no question about it. But he had this operation in place at that time where JD Vance is lecturing him, and then we're going to look at how much he restrained himself after. But like, he went out of his way yesterday to say this was a unique operation as if there aren't others. I bet you there are some other things going on in Russia right now. I can't prove it, but I would be willing to bet that there's other things going on, just
I will
based on what
stand
we've seen
by
here.
I will stand by 28 years of experience working in Ukraine. They're the most creative, ingenious, and once they are committed to something in their heart, the way Ukraine is committed to this, you're not stopping them. And
Yeah,
tonight, when we conclude this, I'm going to show you Zelensky's tweet that will confirm it, just coming out a couple of hours ago. Okay, here
yeah,
we go. We'll
I have mad respect for the Ukrainians now. I mean, this is just
make
like
Ukraine great again. Let's go.
they've won me over.
Here you go. Hold your finger up when you want to stop again.
You have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this
Have you ever
conflict.
been to
Oh,
Ukraine?
oh. Greatest comment that I saw with everything that happened in the last day or two was Julia Davis saying, "JD Vance, did you say thank you yet?" And that was replying to somebody who said, "Yeah, Ukraine just knocked out a third of Russia's, air
Ability
bomber
to carry
fleet."
nuclear
And
missiles on their
yeah,
bombers.
and these bombers were harassing the U.S. around Alaska, and yeah. Did you say
It's,
thank you yet?
you know, hindsight is 2020. I stand behind the thumbnail, the thumbnail, stand behind the title. This is such a different conversation now. Here we go.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Did you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Then count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's
I will
respectful
answer.
to come to the Oval Office
I
of
will
the United
answer.
States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
So let me tell you, first of all, President Zelensky does not take people on propaganda tours. Secondly, he called out Vance, and we know this, on never being there, but I've seen the stories, I've watched, I've heard, but we know who's putting that information in there, people like
Sure.
Tucker Carlson. So this is, for all of you that, maybe even have never seen this, or this is refreshing it back to you, I promise you, from working there, Zelensky doesn't take people on propaganda tours. It's nothing but
Yeah.
it's
And to the point with JD Vance, with the lack of information or the faulty information, there's no greater commercial for the concept that personnel is policy. I mean, that is what it is. Like the people that he has advising him, you need some different people around you advising.
Isn't it interesting that overall, since the June 1st attack, this is all we've heard from the Trump administration, other than the spokesperson Levitt and Putin?
Yeah. Like
Crickets.
it's really remarkable that Trump doesn't talk about any subject. And
Nothing.
to not talk about a subject this big is even more remarkable. Keep going.
Well, I think, to be honest, this video is perfectly on time because we are bringing light to the fact that the phrase that went viral with the memes, "you have no cards," is now proven to be 100% incorrect, and Zelensky is validated with his character today.
And like we're showing this because it feels like we were just looking at this little bit of history all wrong until today.
Correct.
Like that's
100%.
why we're reviewing this now.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know that.
bless. You
Don't-
will not have
gotta-
a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're
doing. I'm not
You're in
dictating.
no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influenced.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right about
From the
it.
very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position.
I
You don't
was
have the
saying-
cards right now.
We'll pause right there.
Yeah, you don't have the cards. And Zelensky's got to be thinking like, Okay, no, he's not reading that. He's not thinking about that probably on the front burner. He said it's got that on the back burner. No, we got things in place that you don't even know about. And he wasn't going to. And the fascinating thing was they didn't even let the United States know that this was about to happen, and that was
Correct.
for a reason. And I wonder how Trump is going to receive this now. If he's going to be even more upset that he wasn't told about it in advance, which if he did, like would he have talked to his friends, maybe in Russia,
Mhm.
and or whether he's going to go, whoa, maybe I'm betting on the wrong horse. I
Well,
don't know that he will. I would hope that he would, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that latter one.
the bottom line is this: he was wrong. Donald Trump
Yeah,
was
he was
wrong.
wrong. He was wrong.
You have no cards. And Zelensky, with all due respect to anybody out there that would say, okay, well, he shouldn't have talked like that in the Oval Office, I'm sorry. But the man under immense pressure,
Yeah.
we've already shown you the picture,
Yeah.
operating in his third language,
Yeah.
surrounded by the Trump cabinet, lights, camera, action. You're accused of dictating to the White House. You're accused of being a
Yeah, sure.
propagandist,
And
and
he's not doing any of those things. Right.
none
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
And then you're told you don't have any cards. This is where his skill as an actor comes in, where
Yeah,
he
that's right.
was able to hold the line. And
Yep.
here we go. Continue.
With us, you start having
Not playing
cards.
cards.
With us, you start having cards.
Nope. He had him beforehand. Turns out.
And not only that, I'm sorry, but Donald Trump has not provided any cards for Ukraine because it's always a delay. We have no sanctions. We're still receiving Biden weapons, and 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. So I don't know what cards he's talking about. It's not these. It may be
Yep.
Uno cards. I don't know, but it's definitely not aces.
Yep. Keep going.
Right now, you don't.
I'm very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives of
anymore.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War
What do you-
III.
what do you
You're
think about?
gambling with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's
with
backed
all respect to
you
your
far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
I just want to pause there 1 second because, Prof, you correct me if I'm wrong. But you know what? It's not Zelensky who's gambling with World War III. He's trying to stop World War III. It is Vladimir Putin who's playing with World War III, the White House that's playing with World War III, Israel and the Middle East wars that are happening playing with World War III, and China
Yeah.
and Xi Jinping playing with World War III. I don't see Ukraine at all playing with World War
Yeah, no,
III. They're trying to stop
I
it.
thoroughly agree. I think the fastest way to, or the best way to prevent it is to back Ukraine so that we validate the rule of law internationally, and you don't go over your country, your neighbor's country's border by force and try to take their stuff, because all kinds of chaos is going to happen. I just read today that the Brits are going to be spending like, I don't know, 15 billion or something on nuclear subs. Right, because they need to have a more robust nuclear deterrence if, plan A doesn't work, plan B. So that's the message to everyone. Like, and so nuclear proliferation will be a big thing as well. So that's what he's gambling on by not doing the right thing here. But okay,
It's
let's keep going.
exactly. Here we go. Continue.
Have you said thank you once?
Back
This
to
entire
lots of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States
what
of
are you speaking
America
about?
and the president who's trying to save your country.
I have to pause there because I need to make one statement that bugs me significantly. I live in Pennsylvania. He went to a military factory. Okay. If
Yeah,
you
I
want to call
remember.
that,
I remember at the
campaigning.
time, and I was like, people were complaining about that. Oh, he's doing this for the Democrats. No, he's doing that because he needs ammunition. Remember, I need ammunition, not a ride. I
That's
mean, they're
exactly
bringing him to a
right.
factory to see the thing. It was interpreted by the right wing media as such a slight that it was just out of proportion. But that was more propaganda than reality, as far as Zelensky was. Like, he wasn't like, I endorse this candidate, or I like, hey
Correct.
guys, I thank you for
But
thank you
but
for the
here's what I'm
artillery.
going to say. Don't throw rocks in a glass house, because it's the Trump administration praising the Polish president today that was elected as being pro-Trump. It was the American administration, Elon Musk, JD Vance. I don't want to call it meddling, but it was in German politics and the German elections. So you can't even go there. It's just
Yeah.
hindsight's 2020. Here we have it.
Zelensky put out a nice tweet for the new Polish president. I mean, he's very diplomatic and trying to work with him regardless of what his previous comments were, and that's the right tone. You got to be a diplomat.
It is.
Keep going.
And the Polish government, of course, different topic, but with president, prime minister, they have a different ratio of power. So we're good there.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. Your country's
Can I-
in big
can I-
trouble.
can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
Can
You've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a
Okay,
damn
stop.
good
Right.
chance of
You're not winning this. Yeah. And he knew that this was in play at the time. I know how frustrating this must have been for Zelensky, but the way that Trump saw this was way different than the reality that was going on. And that was precisely the point. Zelensky does have, and probably still has, more cards up his sleeve that we just don't know anything about. So
No question. I promise you, my own eyeballs and Zhenya, our eyeballs have seen technology that is coming this fall to a battlefield near you that will blow you away.
yeah,
Now,
I know. The tech innovation here has just been
we can't say.
astronomical.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've been right there in the president's building. Okay. We've seen it. It's coming. Of course, they're layered out.
Mhm.
Now, the other thing is you're losing this war. Okay. So the nation that is losing this war, you have no cards. Okay. Prof, think about this. They just used semi trucks and $500 drones to demolish a large portion of Russia's nuclear strike capability with those long-range bombers. The United States couldn't have done that with a massive missile strike. It couldn't have happened. It's like, this is why we're not hearing anything from the United States right now, or Putin. That's it. It's simple. Here we go.
I just hope
Okay,
American
because of
Mr.
us.
President,
What'd you say?
I just hope American military leaders are really paying attention to what's going on and thinking, you know what? Other people can do that. We've got to pay attention to what our countermeasures are going to be. So
We
anyway,
better
keep
be.
going.
And it's not just about throwing out words about a golden dome. I promise you. I promise
Yeah.
you. These guys, both sides, Ukraine and Russia, technologically lapping the globe.
we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid president, $350 billion.
You
Okay, personnel is policy again. Where does he keep getting this 350 billion? And if it's coming out of his head, he needs to be corrected. And if it's coming from somebody else, they ought to be fired. Keep going.
And I will just say this. No matter what you believe about a person or your political viewpoint, if you are the president of any nation, you do not sit in your office and call your former president stupid. I'm sorry. It's just wrong.
We
voted
gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
If
West?
you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me.
equipment,
Trump just pushed him, by the way. Just want you to know. He put his hand on him.
Yeah, the big takeaway when I first saw this, I was telling my wife, like, I've never seen a president of the United States treat anybody, and there have been some like pretty shady characters that have come to the Oval Office for one reason or another over time, like not the most savory guys. But they've been diplomatic and kind. Like this was like the worst treatment that I've seen of anyone, and certainly Zelensky didn't merit that.
And there, I mean, he put his hands on him. I mean, it's just what it is.
You invited
If
me
you
to
didn't
speak
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
in 3
okay?
days.
Okay. In 2 weeks. Oh, in
Okay.
3 days, I heard it from Putin.
Yeah. So it's kind of true and kind of not. I mean, it's kind of true. Yeah, they did need that early on. They're kind of they could get on without it, although it would be much harder. But so he's kind of right about at least in the early days. And look, we got it so wrong.
Okay,
The
but
"I need ammunition, not a ride" line came because the United States thought that it was just going to fall over immediately, and so you need a ride out. So that's where that came from.
okay,
Because we got our intelligence wrong about. Go ahead.
no, I agree with you. That help up front was massive, and the world was rallying because the world was in shock. But I want to make something very clear. In the first 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of this war, it was not American supplies that saved Ukraine. Don't fall for
Uh,
that. It
There were
was
some javelins involved, but it was
yeah.
it was mostly old Soviet tech.
It was Ukrainians in the military, volunteers lining up by the miles to join their army and defend their nation, and they rallied. Farmers throwing
Yep.
Molotov cocktails, tractors dragging tanks out of fields. That's what
Yep.
saved Ukraine at the beginning. Here we go.
Recorded
sure,
from
absolutely.
Putin in 3 days. This is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks. Of course,
It's
yes.
going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell
you
you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of times
that there,
thank you
except
to
that,
American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think
Uh,
Oh,
I
brother.
mean,
oh,
I just
brother. We know that
so
you're wrong.
So there's a Christian philosopher. His name is Dennis Peacock. He says the mind justifies what the heart has already chosen, and that's where JD Vance is right now. On "you're wrong," and he just fundamentally has an aversion to Zelensky, and you see it coming out, and then coming up with like weak excuses around it. It's yeah, it's harder to watch now.
Unfortunately, yeah, the hindsight's 2020, but it reveals to us that I just don't know how well prepped these guys are, to be quite honest. We hear it, about how well read intelligent briefings that do not happen or have not happened the way they should. But when you see these conversations, and especially now in hindsight, they're really in left field completely.
You name me, and I'm not asking you to actually name it, but you name me the least prepared UA tuber that you know, and there's like only like a couple dozen of us, right? You and we understand more than what they understood here in this conversation.
100% agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's
100%
pretty
agree.
scary.
Not only that, I would even take it a step further, that the millions of people that support Ukraine through YouTube and all of us guys that work together, the people around the world know more than the guys in that White House.
Oh, sure, yeah.
right,
Okay,
here we go.
Tell us about the tweet.
There's a little bit left.
Okay.
A little bit left. Here we go. Let me get to it.
it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look,
Oh my.
if you
Yeah. Did you miss that part?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't play to this part when I rewatched it this afternoon after we talked and before this. He doesn't want a ceasefire. He's been agreeing with a ceasefire, and it's been Putin that doesn't want a ceasefire, and he can't see past this.
March 11th was the day that Ukraine accepted,
Agreed. Yeah.
agreed, unconditional ceasefire. So it's hindsight's 2020. Here we go, guys.
You get
Wow.
a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire?
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire.
I want a ceasefire with guarantees. That's the deal.
Mhm.
What they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
is-
with me.
it
That was
wasn't
with
with
a
you.
guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the
Well.
cards, but without us, you don't have any cards.
Okay, and I
Looks
did
like
not
he has-
cut that. I didn't cut it or put it back. They made that statement again.
Looks like he had a lot more cards than anybody knew at the time. And looking back at that, it just it changes the way that you see what just happened.
It's painful.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
painful.
How about that?
Okay, now you were teaching tonight. This tweet came out very late from Zelensky. He was being thankful for all of the meetings that happened today, the delegation in Istanbul that did their work, but he had a multi-page tweet. This one we need to pay attention to, and we'll close with this. It's right here. In response to journalist questions, I emphasized that yesterday, Ukraine carried out a brilliant operation planned and executed independently by our side. Ukraine is making it clear we are not going to surrender, and we will not accept any ultimatums. But we do not want war. We do not want to show our strength. We are forced to, because the enemy refuses to stop. And when
Love
we
the way
do,
he writes.
oh, listen,
I mean, the way he can turn a phrase, like his media experience, he's just the right guy for this job.
100%. And when we do show our strength, we do it justly, striking military targets. We show it not only to the Russian aggressors, but also to those of our allies who were once strong supporters, but have started to waver.
Wow.
Trust in Ukrainians and belief in Ukraine has been restored. I believe the outcome of this operation is a very strong one.
Wow.
Powerful.
Yeah, that was a great line, or great line after line after line.
Yes. And I'll tell you what, I just had that thought. We were talking on the phone, as we do pretty much every day, and I'm glad we took the time to review this. And I hope, guys that are watching this, that you'll share this, because hindsight truly is 2020. And we thank you for your subscriptions, turning the bells on, because the war really is changing at such a rapid pace that
It's hard to keep up, man.
It's hard to keep up, and we do our very best. So
all right.
thank
Well,
you.
Greg, thank you. Thank you for
my
your time and working through that with me. I hope that was helpful to the audience, and thank you for being the kind of people that care about Ukraine. We really do appreciate you. And yeah, it's different than what we thought it was.
Well, we'll close it with this for all of you great people out there.
Слава Україні!